Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking about how to rebuild study habits. Now, it's been a long time since most of us have studied. For example, we've probably been away for at least between 3 to 5 months of rigorous studying. I know that's the case for me. The advice I'm going to give you is also the advice I use to help me rebuild my study habits. And I hope that by the end of this video, you will be able to rebuild your own habits too. Number one, the first thing you should do is to know your course content. What do I mean by that is to scope your subject by going online to your course page. Most courses will have the lectures and seminars already updated for the new semester. So I suggest that you go and look up what subjects you're going to be doing, look up how long they're going to take you, how many lectures there are in the semester, and that will give you a good scope of how much time you would need to dedicate to actual lecture time and how much time you have around that, especially in this quarantine period, because I know most of us are studying from home. For example, my semester we're doing life structure, so we're going to be learning about genomics, neurology, skin and musculoskeletal, so I can focus my time on learning those aspects. It also puts pressure off me because I know exactly what I'm stepping into this semester, and I feel like this is what a lot of students may need to do to help them feel calm about starting a new subject or a new degree. So the next thing I would tell you to do is to plan ahead. What I mean by plan ahead is first, either buy a planner or a calendar or download one on your app store. Have a planner. For many of us students, we will be required to do between 20 or 30 hours of studying on average a week. And that's a lot of hours. So you do need to plan your time. Also, what I would suggest within this whole planning period is to set a timetable. So most universities would have already set out the semester plan, so you would already know roughly what lectures you have and what days they're going to be on. So I would suggest to take those lectures and put it in the calendar and then see whatever time you have left to allocate to different things. For example, in my calendar, I add all the lectures that I will have in that week just to see how much time I've already allocated to those lectures, and then I'll add whatever else I need to add to do in that week. For example, edit my YouTube videos, do some outside studying, research on other stuff. Time for enjoyment, I usually just schedule that around what I've done in my lectures, and this actually helps you with time management. A lot of people, including myself, tend to do is over plan and put too many things in our planners that is quite unrealistic, and we might not be able to finish them in the time that we allocate it. So when you make a planner, you need to be realistic. Make sure that you give yourself enough time to relax and that you don't overburden yourself and put too much in your planner, because that could lead to burnout. Trust me, I've done that and it's not very good. The next thing I would say is to get started from day one. Now, as soon as you start at university, especially because we have been away from studying for so long, it will take you even longer to get used to the idea or used to the patterns of studying and being consistent. So what I would suggest is to start from day one. What do I mean by start from day one? Prior to starting your degree or starting school, I would suggest that you get into a school routine or a routine that allows you to get up early. For example, waking up at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. every day, just so your body gets used to waking up at that time. Allocating yourself times for free time and times to do other things and actually following a plan. Even if it's not study related, at least get your body into the idea that you're going back to school and actually follow a school routine. So what I like to do is I like to wake up around 9 a.m. in the morning. I go and I wash my face, do my skincare, brush my teeth, go downstairs for a cup of tea or coffee. Then I come back upstairs, I do some editing. Then I probably will either read a book or do some general reading around the course content that I learned last year. Then I might go and watch some TV for some free time and then go back to do some reading or watching some anime, and then go to bed at the same time every single night. And I make that routine every single day. Even though I'm not necessarily studying, my body is used to the idea of having a routine and having a plan for the day. So the next thing I recommend, and this is particularly for university students, is to find the recommended books. Now, when I was in biomed, every year, about a week or two before the new semester started or the new year started, the teachers would give us access to the course page, and in the course page, they would list the recommended books. And now these recommended books are quite expensive to buy. So you'd go to the library and you check out those books, which means you wouldn't have to buy them at the beginning of the year. So what I highly suggest you do is, if your course does have recommended books that you need to get, I suggest that you go into the library and find if your library stocks it up so that you can get it, and so that you don't have to buy the books in the future. Because honestly, you probably only need that book for that year or 2 years, and you'll never use it again, and it'd be a waste of like 40 to 60 pounds just to buy it for that course. So that's why I suggest you go get it from the library first. So if you haven't done so, pause the video and check now to check if your course has released any recommended books, and get those books out on your library. And if you don't have access to the library, a lot of universities also have patents to the online version of those books. So check if your library has the online version of those recommended books. The fifth thing I would suggest is to create the right working environment. Unfortunately, most of us are going to be studying from home. I know I'm going to be studying from home. How do I differentiate that? I make my table my workspace, and I don't do anything such as relaxation or browsing my apps or reading books on my table. My table is strictly for studying. So I set up my table in a way where I have my laptop, my tablet, and my books, or anything else that I need for that session, and any other distractions or anything that could make me feel like I can relax, that I remove from my table, so I don't feel like it's a relaxation area. When I finish, my bed is my relaxation area, and I try not to mix those two together, particularly my table. When you do that, it helps your mind to differentiate that when I sit down on this table, I'm here to work, and when I'm on my bed, I'm here to relax. If you make that differentiation, it will be a lot easier to help you rebuild your study habits in the new semester. The sixth thing I would say is, don't leave studying or your homework or your assignments to the last minute. Especially as you're starting studying, don't leave things to the last minute. It will only stress you out, and you may not produce the results that you want. Now, I tend to tell myself, oh yeah, I work better under pressure, but I feel like that's kind of a lie that I say to myself to help me procrastinate even more. Of course, I do work better under slight pressure, but it doesn't mean I should leave my homework to the day before it's due. So what I would suggest, particularly with studying, is to do a little bit every day. Now, I'm not saying do 4 or 5 hours every day, maybe 1 or 2 hours every day, and it'll keep you on top of studying and reviewing the content and making sure that you remember and you know the content. How would I suggest you do that? I would suggest you make studying a part of your routine. So when you wake up in the morning and you've had your breakfast and you've gone through the lectures for the day, you take a break, and then you allocate, yes, I'm going to do 1 or 2 hours now for my designated studying time. If you make studying a part of your routine, it becomes less daunting when you think about having to study for a subject. So I highly suggest don't leave things the last minute, and do a little bit every single day. One of the things that keeps me accountable for doing my little bit of studying every day is to set deadlines. Now, what do I mean by setting deadlines? The first thing I do is to set a period in time where I have to get this done by. For example, if I want to read or watch 2 lectures of genomics and go through some questions, if the lectures are on a Monday, I have to do those genomics lectures by Wednesday. And then when I sit down on the table to actually do that work, I set a timer and said, okay, I'll give myself 55 minutes to do this topic, and give myself like a 5 to 10 minute break, and then start again for the next hour that I want to study. When I give myself a time period, and I want to give myself a point in time when I want to finish one of my subjects, it helps keep me accountable, and it also helps me realize that if I do this now, I won't be behind, and it'll be easier for me in the future when I have exams. Another thing that will help you study better and rebuild those study habits is to keep your distractions at bay. Distractions take up so much of your time, and they take up so much of your energy that you don't actually give yourself enough time to do the work you want to do. Now, how do I keep my distractions at bay? I use apps such as Forest that will give me a timer to stop me from using my phone. Sometimes I'll even put my phone in another room to just focus in that period of time to do my work. When you distinguish those distractions, it becomes a lot easier to do your work. Another thing I'll suggest to help with distractions is to delete those apps. Those apps you downloaded over the summer, they've got to go. Hear me? They have got to go. They will not help you with your semester. So any of these fun games that you have that you really feel like you don't need, get rid of them. You don't need it. And the moment you do that, you will realize that you have so much more time. I downloaded like 5 or 6 gaming apps, and when I deleted those apps, I realized that my productivity skyrocketed to another level. So I highly suggest you do that. The next thing I would suggest is in rebuilding your study habits, you might tend to get too focused or too obsessed with trying to rebuild those habits and having a rigid timetable that you forget to reward yourself. Honestly, one of the best things to do is to reward yourself when you've done something. You have to remember that you've come from a very long break, so you're not going to be at the optimum level as you were. So you have to reward yourself for every little achievement that you made. For example, I studied 1 hour today and I didn't study anything yesterday. You reward yourself for that. I studied 2 hours today and I didn't do anything 2 days ago. You reward yourself for that. These little rewards you give yourself will make you feel better and more motivated to continue studying. How do I reward myself? If I do maybe 2 or 3 hours of studying, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna sit down and watch some anime. I'm just gonna read a book and enjoy some time off. And then I go back to crunch time because I've already given myself some time off and rewarded myself. The last thing I feel like will help you so much is to ask for help. Everyone is on the same boat as you are, and so it's not a bad thing to ask for help. If you're stuck on something, if there's something you don't understand or something that you feel like you need someone else's expertise on, ask for help, because that will help you more than trying to figure something out that you can't do by yourself. And also focus on your mental health. I have an app that I like to use called Mindshift, and I use it all the time when sometimes I feel like I'm doing too much and I need to relax, or like I feel like I've got negative thoughts or I can't do something, and I try and change my thought process. Mental health is a very, very important thing for students, especially in this time. As students, we sometimes forget our mental health and neglect our mental health while putting a lot of emphasis on our physical health. So I do try my best to make sure that I'm healthy, both physically and mentally, and also happy. So don't forget to check up on yourself every now and then. Don't be daunted about starting a new semester or going back to studying after a long period off. The human brain is programmed to assimilate to a new environment, and it's programmed to assimilate to the patterns of daily lifestyle. So once you start a new pattern and you be consistent with it, every day will become a little bit easier than the last. So studying eventually will become a little bit easier than yesterday. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. Keep shining, and I'll see you next time. Bye.